Happy Thursday, my darling pop culture junkies. It's another wild, wild week in the land of all things, specifically pop culture. It's Pop Culture Mondays on Thursdays, and it's me, Brooke. Hey guys, if you're watching Not My Normal Vibe, I am basically in pajamas, workout clothes, wet hair. It's just a horrible, horrible monsoony day in LA, and in particular my neighborhood, which is in the hills. So there's no, I think I've talked about it before, but there's no drains, so the water just comes flowing down. I'm posting a video so you guys who are watching can see what this is like. This is all day. So that's me. If I have to leave my house, I have to cross that monsoon. If I have to get to my car, I have to cross that monsoon. Have to walk the dogs, have to cross that monsoon. It's a lot, coupled with the fact that there is some sort of armed robbery contingent in my neighborhood that has been hitting homes left and right and center. And I feel a little bit under attack. Like I definitely am like, New York is safer. New York, I live in a doorman building and I can just be okay there. You don't even have to lock your door. So I'm just a little on edge right now with Los Angeles, if you can't tell. I'm sure it will pass. I have a security system being installed. Like it's going to be Fort Knox here. It already kind of is, but like, what the hell? So I'm like locked in. I don't know. Guys, this is the crazy times we live in. The world has gone mad. Second Amendment rights are now things that the left are fighting for, and people want guns. I don't know. I don't know where we are. I want to move to like some tropical island and just call it a day. But we're here today to talk a little bit about the madness of the 21st century in pop culture world. And this week, I'm also in the time machine. So you guys are hearing this on Thursday. We are recording on Monday, just a few hours after I publish the newsletter. I don't know whether there'll be a monsoon on Thursday when people are listening to this, but for those of you in LA, you can think back fondly to 4 days earlier with these horrible rains. Is it 3 days? See, this is where I just don't know. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Wednesday. You know what I mean. 3 sleeps. I digress. But the focus of this week's newsletter, and I kept it brief as I can keep things, because it is a holiday on this Monday. It was a holiday in the U.S., a bank holiday, if you will. It's President's Day, which is just ironic for a variety of reasons. But also known as Ski Week, which I did not really grok until I moved to the West Coast, because we have spring break and they have spring break on the West Coast too. But I don't quite know how the school systems work, the breakdown. But kids on the West Coast have this midwinter break, and it always coincides with President's Day. And so all my friends are gone. They're either on a beach somewhere or a ski slope somewhere, probably not reading a newsletter. But for those of you who did read this week's newsletter, I did something I'm not fond of doing, but that is something you have to do, or at least I feel like we have to do every once in a while. And that is make the main story about politics, not the president, current president, because we are Trump free here, but certain members of his administration do get the perfectly orchestrated meme campaign against them. And this week, it was that little cucaracha, that little evil, evil Ava Braun, Attorney General Pam Bondi's turn. And I mean, I wouldn't have even necessarily made it the main story if it hadn't been for the fact that I heard from many, many different people as this was happening, was like, what's the 50,000? What is going on with 50,000? A few people were like, is 50,000 the new 6-7? And I was like, no, don't worry. I don't think it'll stay that long. But 50,000 was a meme that went viral last week and is still holding on for dear life. And that is because it's just such a ridiculous, preposterous situation that we as a society find ourselves in. I'm not even going to try to unpack the hypocrisy circles Epstein files situation here, because those in power are the ones that were connected to it the most and have somehow successfully turned it to where they're not connected, or at least their people don't seem to care. Like, let me unpack it quickly. Basically, the people, you have like the QAnon people and the conspiracy theorists who really truly believe that the Democrats were ruled by a pedophile, like, dark ring led by like Hillary Clinton and others. When in fact, it turns out there is a pedophile ring of powerful people, but most of them were Republicans. However, there have been some progressives, Democrats that call themselves progressives that have come crashing down in the last couple of weeks. And as I say, Schadenfreude is a beautiful, wondrous thing across the board. But the fact of the matter is the Epstein files were meant to be this thing that we're going to really highlight what the Republicans and its party leader were responsible for. And somehow it's been turned around to being like everyone, including many men that have been in my life, which says more probably about me than the men at this point. I should write a book like, was it me? I don't know. But that's also for another podcast. The point is, the Epstein files have taken up all of the oxygen. And it's a tragic story, not the Epstein part, but the victims. And I don't know why many people keep calling them young women. They're pre-18. You're not a woman at 14. You're not a woman at 16. You're not a woman at 17. Frankly, you're not a woman at 18, but I guess whatever. You're not. So I don't know why people keep saying these young women. Underage women. That's what they say. Underage women, which is like an oxymoron for those of you paying attention. But the victims. And in this particular setting, really heartbreaking, because you had Pam Bondi in this very hostile Senate hearing. She was just nasty woman. She was angry. She was calling people names. I mean, it's really, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel, the lowest common denominator of human beings, like we are watching. And that's what's unfortunately informing so many of our impressionable young people, to teach them that that's okay. That's okay to speak to people that way. That's okay to be disrespectful. And Pam Bondi did that in spades. But she also had dozens and dozens of Epstein victims sitting behind her who she refused to look at and acknowledge. And when pressed about more of the Epstein information and whether or not she was prosecuting anybody, whether there were any indictments going out, she tried to make the point that we were putting too much attention on the Epstein files. This is the exact same people who campaigned on the Epstein files, that we and the Senate are putting too much attention on the Epstein files, and rather than focusing on the fact that the Dow is at 50,000, which she was like, it's at $50,000. Like, she doesn't even know, I don't think, what the Dow is. But saying, why are we paying attention to these women, again, girls, behind me? Why are we paying attention to all of this when the Dow's at 50,000? The S&P is blah, blah, blah. Take a look.
The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
Committee will be in order.
Mr. Jordan, am I going to get an extra 45 seconds added to my time?
The committee will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas. Ms. Bondi, the Attorney General can respond.
Thank you. The Dow has shattered 50,000 for the first time. This is crazy. They said it couldn't be done in 4 years, yet President Trump has done it in 1 year.
So the 50,000 became a meme, and rightly so, because like she's so, first of all, robotic and programmed. Like she's literally out of a lab. She is something out of like a horror FX show where I think if we were to peel away the layers, it would be like la 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 la, like all the wires, and like she's alien territory. Maybe she's like Begonia character. She's not from here. I don't know. But she's vile. And she used the fact that the economy, and by the way, the Trump administration loves to connect the stock market with the economy, when economists will say the market and the rise and fall of the market is not an actual indicator of the economy, but that's neither here nor there. The fact is, she's saying our stock market is strong. Donald Trump is so great for business and making rich people richer, because that's what the market's about. The Dow and the S&P are at record highs. Why are we paying attention to Epstein still? My God, why are we paying attention to these girls that were sexually trafficked and assaulted? So that was what went awry for her, and why we have the 50,000 meme, which is in and of itself dark, but the creators did make it light. And many of them decided to try this little trend and making the Pam Bondi, the 50,000 sort of deflect when asked to do something or relationship things. So I don't even know if I'm explaining that right. But instead of me explaining it, take a listen or take a look at these TikToks.
Babe, you peed on the toilet seat again. How many times do I have to tell you?
Listen, babe, the Dow is at 50,000.
Hey, baby.
No, hey, baby. So I know you're cheating on me.
The Dow is at 50,000.
Okay,
So
so
50,000.
I saw the text in your phone.
S&P, 7,000. Have you thought about that?
Haven't thought about that. Too busy thinking about you cheating on me.
Okay, so the stock market is kind of the best it's ever been. And I want to remind you to the first point that the Dow is at 50,000. The Dow.
Don't care about that, actually.
The Dow.
Yeah, and I don't even think you know what that means, actually.
Well, it's the Dow.
The Dow.
Hey, do you have that report ready?
The Dow. The Dow right now is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing.
Meg, did you take my laptop?
Annie, the Dow, it's 50,000 somethings. It's over 50,000.
I think someone pissed on the floor.
Guys, the Dow. The Dow is over 50,000.
You know, taking something dark and making it light. Thankfully, we have TikTok creators and Instagram makers and all of the people in between doing God's work for us. There are a few other funny TikToks that's sort of people's impressions of her appearance in front of the Senate. So take a look.
Mommy, what's for dinner?
The Dow is at 50,000.
Guys, there's no evidence. What's the big deal?
What? Seriously?
Miss Bondi, there are mountains of evidence.
Are you calling me a liar?
Yeah, pretty much. Donald Trump is the greatest president in American history.
Pam, that wasn't the question. We asked you about the Epstein files.
Oh, my bad. Stop smiling. This is not a game, Madam Secretary.
Get your glasses fixed, Margaret.
What? In case you forgot,
Yes?
I'm the Attorney General.
Oh, really? Because I couldn't tell.
Damn. Honestly, guys,
What?
we've had no victims reach out to us to want to testify.
Sure, but-
What's so hard to understand about that?
The fact that there are 30 victims sitting right behind you that all reached out to testify, and they still do.
Oh, shit, my bad.
Dark days, dark, dark days. There is this tweet, iconic Michael Jordan photo with the Air Jordan logo, just that close-up, like a Nike ad, a close-up of Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan sort of, I don't know if it's of him today, but certainly more recently. Big earring, the Air Jordan logo at the bottom of the photo. And then it says, fuck them kids. The Dow's 50K. Oh, yeah. And then literally, I'm going to close on this one for this story. This is from a Twitter user under the name of I'm Speaking 13. And I think she speaks for many of us when she says, Pam Bondi normalized the word cunt in one day. I hope that doesn't get me banned from YouTube, but there you go. There's lots more in the newsletter if you guys want to check it out. And I suggest you do, because there's endless amounts and people are having a lot of fun with it. Taking darkness and making it a little light. Though I don't know if this will impact her or her job in any way. Another thing that I want to talk about that's a little dark before we move into the light, because we need a little light. James Van Der Beek, a.k.a. Dawson, passed away last week at a terribly, terribly young age, 48 years old. I don't care what his political beliefs were. There is controversy. I didn't even get into it in the newsletter. There is controversy because his friends or family put a GoFundMe together. He left behind a young wife and 6 children. And it was also made aware, we were, as the public, made aware that he made no money in reruns of Dawson's Creek. These were kids, they were unknowns. They did not really have any power behind them, I guess, at that time. So when you think about a lot of these actors who have these long, long shows, a lot of them make a killing on the sort of reruns and the things that, like think about Law and Order SVU, like Mariska Hargitay prints money. They're just on all the time, 24/7. But apparently, I don't know if it was the entire cast, but certainly James Van Der Beek did not benefit from that. And whatever the contract, whatever his manager or agent, or I guess its agent, was able to negotiate for him, he was an unknown at the time, and they were just sort of like, thank you for hiring me. So that's pretty hard. So he does not have this like endless amount of income that one would think a star of a long-running TV series would have. And so a GoFundMe was launched for him, and for the family rather, and really high-profile people, including Steven Spielberg, who apparently gifted $25,000. And that's a really big deal, because if anybody watched Dawson's Creek, his character was an aspiring filmmaker who was absolutely obsessed with Steven Spielberg. Like the whole show was around his obsession with Steven Spielberg and wanting to be a filmmaker like Steven Spielberg. So it's, fiction, truth, like it's so fascinating. And even though all these years later, 30 years later, Steven Spielberg gives money to the actor whose character obsessed over him. You also, I believe they had Zoe Saldana. I have the list because of my Invisalign. Was donating like $2,500 on a monthly basis. They raised at least, last I checked, it was over $2 million. And that's amazing. But there is backlash, because when there's something that good happens, that's lovely that happens, we also try to find the negative. And the backlash was that he wasn't deserving. The family wasn't deserving of it, that there are lots of people with way worse off situations without being in the public eye who will never have access to those funds. And that may be true. I mean, it just may be true. I don't know if that means they're not deserving of it. But then there was some stories that went out that the family had just bought the ranch that they live on. That was like $4.5 million, But then there are other stories that say that the family had friends that helped cobble together basically enough for the, however it works with a mortgage, you put down a down payment and then you have to pay a monthly mortgage. So whatever it is, there's upset around the fact that they got all of this money in a GoFundMe, and there are a lot of people saying like, don't fund it, that's terrible, you're racist if you do, it's all ugly. Because then there's some people who believe that, or out there perpetuating the fact that maybe he's MAGA, which doesn't mean he would not be deserving of care and help. Let's just be clear, people. Like, we are not, as Bad Bunny says, we must lead with love. But also some are saying that, which I have seen no evidence of in my investigative research, but that he was out there promoting non-traditional medicines to combat his cancer as opposed to traditional medicines. And what I've seen is that he was absolutely going through all of the standard and advanced medical treatment that one would recommend for his type of cancer, but as well as incorporating holistic stuff, which, like, of course. But anyway, we live in a society where everybody has to have an opinion, everybody has a voice, everybody's angry. The fact of the matter is this guy left 6 children who will never grow up with their dad, and that's heartbreaking. And people rallied around to support. The thing that I talked about in the newsletter, though, that I thought was really interesting, and I don't know if this is going to become a trend. I don't know, and I don't know how I feel about it. As somebody that has, in some ways it's beautiful, in some ways it's really, really hard, been in the room when people have died, have lost their battles, if you will, to illness. More than a handful of times, I have been either the only one or one of a few people at the time that somebody takes their last breath. And it is an incredibly powerful experience. It's an incredibly heartbreaking one. It can be freeing if that person is, finally free of pain. It's one where you sort of disassociate, or at least for me, I disassociated. And you sort of are like looking at it as if you're an out of body experience, but it is a really intimate and personal thing. Now, the thing that I have not had in any of those experiences is that moment photographed, those last moments with somebody as they are near death. I have never had that photographed. I don't think I would want that photographed. However, in James Van Der Beek's situation, his friends did have them photographed, and some of them are famous friends, like Stacy Keibler, who posted this Instagram clearly in the final days of his battle. They were outside. It's a beautiful setting, but you can see how fragile and sick he is. Alfonso, how do you say his last name? Alfonso, I think you say it as Ribeiro, who I've known, or I don't know him personally, but he's been in my life since Silver Spoons, so in the 80s. But Alfonso Ribeiro posted this heartbreaking Instagram that also appears to be in the end stages of James Van Der Beek's life. And he says this was taken by his wife just a few minutes before I said my last goodbye. My last moment was making him laugh one last time. I really miss him already. And then another woman, a friend of his, this is seemingly taken down now from Instagram, with her holding his hand, laughing and smiling, with him unable to lift his head up clearly from his bedside. It's a strange thing to do. I am not judging it. I'm just saying, for me, it's not my comfort zone. I wonder if it's, clearly it's with his permission. It's with the family's permission. These are intimately close friends. These are not opportunistic people. They're not looking to capitalize off of it, I don't think, in any way. But it is hard for people on the outside to sort of see that. Death is hard. But I wonder if it's more like raising awareness of the fact that, he's a big advocate for screening, for getting tested, for not ignoring symptoms, a big advocate on the cancer front on what to do to sort of help ensure that's not your position that you end up in at that age. So if that's the case, I understand. I just don't know. I don't know if this is going to become a trend where it's like our last picture together trend, which I'm not really keen on, for me personally, not my vibe. But let's just move on to a little bit of a palate cleanser, if you will, because I think we need it. I know we've already done Bad Bunny, we've done the Super Bowl, but there are a few creators that have not been able to get it out of their minds because it was such an incredible halftime show. Don't listen to Megyn Kelly or Jill Zarin. May her reality show TV career RIP. 135 million plus people have positive things to say about this halftime show. And it still carries over, and people are taken over. If you remember when Bad Bunny first came out, and it's like, you know, the sugar canes around him, and he's got the huge shoulder pads, and he's holding a little football, and he's doing it. Well, people have made it their own, and they're mimicking, and I mean that in the most positive ways, of the opener of Bad Bunny's halftime show. So take a look at a few of my faves.
Hey, Titi me preguntó si tengo muchas novias. Muchas novias. Hoy tengo a una, mañana a otra. Ey, pero no hay boda. Titi me preguntó si tengo muchas novias. Muchas novias. Hoy tengo a una, mañana a otra. Me las voy a llevar a todas pa' un VIP, un VIP. Ey, saluden a Titi, vamos a... Ey, Titi me preguntó si tengo muchas novias. Ey, muchas novias. Hoy tengo a una, mañana a otra. Pero no hay boda, Titi me...
Joy, just joy, pure joy. And more joy, and this again, this is not something that I think has hit mainstream, though I will say, I didn't even put it in the newsletter, I just realized, but you guys got a real download on clavicular, looksmaxxing, and mogging last week, both in the podcast and the newsletter. I gave you guys a real sort of like Cliff Notes version of what this whole category was. And then, unbelievably, after we published, after the newsletter is out, and obviously not saying it's because of me, I'm sure they'd been working on it for a while, but the New York Times did a profile on this kid, Clavicular. Glowing, not glowing, it doesn't matter. To give a spotlight to this kid who talks about casually doing crystal meth to make his cheeks more hollow and give himself an edge over other people who are using Adderall because he feels crystal meth has just a slight advantage. I mean, this is the kid that millions upon millions of young men are listening to and looking up to for longevity, they say, for looking their best, mogging. I don't know, guys. It's so terrible. I can't even. And the New York Times profiled him. So who's to say what happens here? I may highlight something and it may become a New York Times profile the next week. So who's to say whether these two little boys that I believe are Kuwaiti, they're Muslim, they are darling, they look like grown men, but like little boys. Like, I went deep because I just was like, is this AI? I mean, this is where your mind sort of does wonders. I don't know their names because I can't read the language. They are darling. They are like, you could fire your therapist and just have these little boys. Like, they start talking to us about the garbage. Like, if you're not going to leave garbage around your house. So like, if somebody's a garbage human, take them out. Put them in the garbage can and you forget about them. You're not thinking about, I hope that garbage is okay. Like, these kids, what? Take a look.
When you take your garbage out of your home and you throw it, you will not think about it. Say, oh, this is my garbage, where it's gone, who will take it? God, this is a garbage. And when you come to your home, you wish that they took it. So, a bad habit, a bad thought, any negativity, anything bother you in your life, throw it and don't think about it. You understand? I wish you understand.
And then, like, I wish I knew this kid 30 years ago. He's telling us what a narcissist is and like how they're so bad for us. I mean, I have to think adults are writing this for them, but I don't know. It's before it becomes dark and cynical, before the whole situation, I choose to believe in the positives of this.
Help from the narcissist. He's a real bad person. First thing he will show you that he's a good person. He will help you. He will give you everything you want. He will say for you good words. And then 2 days, 3 days, and then he's gonna cheat. He will never do for you these good things until you have money or you have a job. Anything that he can use you with it. He's a liar, number one. He want to take advantage about you. He want to use you. He don't have any feeling. Zero feelings. And then maybe when you caught him that he's a real bad person and he's using you, you know what he's gonna do? He will come to you and say for you, remember before, when I give you, when I help you, when I say for you good words, don't believe him. He's a liar. He want to do for you. You remember what he did for you the first thing, he want to do it another time. So be careful from him. What do you say, Sheikh Mufad?
There's no medicine for the nurses.
Of course.
Sheikh Mufad is the worst person ever.
Of course.
Stay away from him.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that is enough of a palate cleanser for us this week. I did want to talk about a couple of things that are content-wise. And what I mean by that are like Hollywood movies, TV shows, podcasts. The Wuthering Heights controversy continues. There has been controversy since day one, since the trailer came out months and months ago. We talked about it here, where Wuthering Heights was in quotes, meaning that it implied that it's not taken it's not literally from the book. Like perhaps it's a very liberal adaptation. And the movie's made by Emerald Fennell. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing it. Who's a killer career, but probably most well known for her most recent film, which was Saltburn, which we all remember. And I think she did Promising Young Woman, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody fact check me on that next podcast. But Saltburn obviously had us in a gag. Like there's lots of scenes from Saltburn that are iconic, the music, all of that. Jacob Elordi, now we have him, and we have Wuthering Heights with Margot Robbie. And the trailer was very sexual, very dark, very lusty. And for those of us who read Wuthering Heights, which by the way, I probably need to reread it. I don't think it was a romance novel though. I think it was it's a gothic novel. It's dark. So I don't know if people went into it knowing that and maybe they thought it was romance. So I have not seen this movie. I cannot give you one way or the other an opinion on this, but I can tell you the reactions. And that is the English majors are very unhappy. They are angry. They are hurt, shocked, and grieved over this film, which I just think is funny because like all of the facts prior to going to see this movie show us, just all of the information shows us that it's not going to be like your Emily Brontë Wuthering Heights, right? Is that who wrote it? One of the Brontë sisters wrote it. So for that, I think it's funny that they take it all very, very seriously and they're very, very upset. But take a look at some of the people who are critical of it.
Look, I just got home from watching Wuthering Heights with my mum. Don't do it. It should be illegal. It should be illegal to watch that film with your mother. I knew there was sex in it. Oh, it's always awkward watching sex scenes with your mum or whatever. It's like fractured our relationship, I think. The mother and son relationship. I think that, you know, you can rate a movie MR16. That should be NMS. No mother sons. Oh, that movie's NMS. What is that? No mother and sons can watch that together. It's fucked us.
I thought this was a parody multiple times throughout the screening. Last night I got to see an early screening of Wuthering Heights. I do not even know where to begin with this review. Oh my gosh. I attempted to write down some bullet points for this. I couldn't even put together a comprehensive thought about this film. This will be a spoiler-free review until the very end, which pretty light spoilers, mostly from the book, which is written in the 1800s. But I went into this film actually never reading the book and never seeing a Wuthering Heights adaptation. And I took my mom, who is an English and writing teacher who loves Wuthering Heights, the book, and has seen every adaptation. And so we had the privilege of the dueling perspectives going into this film. And we both hated it. Have you ever watched a movie and thought this was made for Pinterest and TikTok edits? And not in a good way. Because that is exactly how I felt watching this movie. They attempted to do the Sofia Coppola, Marie Antoinette style modern music with a timepiece, similarly to like A Knight's Tale, but it just completely missed that mark for me. The costuming was beautiful, but some of the pieces were time accurate and some of them were fully modern dresses. Nothing was consistent about it. Now, I am not a vanilla prude, okay? I love Game of Thrones. That is my favorite TV show of all time, okay? I can see some stuff. I can handle some stuff. This movie was so freaked out, but like not in a good way. Not in a pleasant way. Not in an enjoyable way. At all. When I say so freaked out, it was to the point where this film did not feel romantic. You couldn't feel the chemistry, and you only felt this animalistic passion that as a woman, I didn't really enjoy watching. And obviously I can't speak for everyone. It was so animalistic and vulgar to me. The romance was gone.
Yes. Yes, they're very upset. Now, the fact is, there are plenty of people who like the movie. The movie, I don't think it hit expectations in the box office that people had hoped, but I don't think it's a disaster either. People like to go and feel something in a movie. So I think if that were the case, if that's the intent, job well done. Take a look at some of these creators who are absolutely devastated post the film.
Wow. Time to go home.
Now, let's just be clear. Some of the criticisms are harsh. This was one of the reviews on Letterboxd, which if you're not familiar with, it's sort of where you go to learn all about what people are saying about movies. And it was Emily Brontë. Oh no, this is so funny. Emily Brontë died of tuberculosis 177 years ago, yet this adaptation is still the worst thing that has ever happened to her. Oh my God, that's so funny. And then another Letterboxd review. Emerald Fennell is to film what Colleen Hoover is to literature. And Colleen Hoover is the one that's written all those like domestic violence books, the ones that turned into this movie that's now, controversy at the center of it, Blake Lively and that guy, whatever his name is. So... yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to see Wuthering Heights in the movie theater. And I'm just saying that now. That I just don't. Somebody said it once a while ago. I love movie theaters. I do. But for me, it's like action movies, big blockbuster movies, thrillers, horror. But romance or something of that genre, I probably will see on my big screen at home. But I am very excited to see... I am really excited to see this movie, which has a lot of people talking about it, called Send Help. And I normally don't show trailers in this setting, but this movie, it's all of the elements that I love, because it takes sort of like an angry sort of accountant person in a mid-level executive role or mid-level job at a company. She thinks she's going to get a promotion. The guys are like, no, little one, you are a woman. You settle down. And then it turns into like a Survivor episode, and the whole premise of Survivor, but a Survivor turned horror and like Lord of the Flies. So I'm here for it. Plus Rachel McAdams. I mean... just take a look.
I am next in line for VP. When Bradley takes over for his father tomorrow.
Your father promised her a promotion.
Did he? As an executive, I see no value in you. Does that make sense?
What?
We have the merger coming up. Prove me wrong. Bring her, and then we'll ship her out.
Check this out.
I'm Linda Little. I want to be the next
Are there any others? Have you tried making a distress signal? Or a bigger fire?
Getting us out of here should be your focus, not being Susie Homemaker.
You do know you would have died out there.
Yeah, how do you think that would have worked out for you? Are you gonna hunt a boar? Linda from accounting?
strategy and planning, actually. You ever hunt? I think I like it. How valuable to the company am I now? No help is coming. This is how things are now. Not in the office anymore. You are stuck with an asshole boss, just like I was. Don't ever mistake my kindness for weakness. I don't think we should ever leave here.
And then two other things that I just want to quickly touch on. I'm really fascinated by this new genre of podcast that's coming out, which is fiction podcasts, meaning like it's a whole series, but it's fiction. It's an episodic series, but done not on film, just audio. And people are writing these fictionalized episodic shows instead of writing them for TV, instead of writing them for streamers. It is becoming episodic via podcasts. And our friend Gary Whitta, who is the brilliant writer of, I think he did Rogue One, and he did Book of Eli. He's so incredible. He came from the video game world. He is writing this series, and I think it's like still like a work in progress in terms of people are still waiting to see the success before more episodes come, but it's called See You in Hell, and it's got an amazing cast. Like famous people are doing it. I know there's episodes around AI. It's really interesting. And so this new genre of fictional podcasts, which is sort of like, isn't that a book? But it's chapter by chapter. It's episode by episode. I don't know. I just like put a pin in that and keep an eye on it because I think it's a really interesting category. And then I'm going to close. Full disclosure, I've talked about it, that I work with AMC Networks, and I'm really excited about a show they have coming out this spring called The Audacity. But as a result of my working with them, they were having a premiere of a new season, the first episode of the new season of this show called Dark Winds here in LA, and they asked if I wanted to go, and I was like, sure, I love it. I love a screening. So I had not seen the first 3 seasons, and I was like, oh, I'm sure I'll just be able to watch the first episode and, you know, whatever. I was not familiar with the game of Dark Winds. I was not familiar with their game because I am obsessed. You can watch the first episode of the 4th season and not have any knowledge of what happened prior, but it was important for me to go back and watch all of them. So this is an unbelievably filmed series. It's a hit. When I posted about it on Instagram, so many people were like, how do you not know about it? It's now in its 4th season. It got signed for a 5th season, so you guys can like sink your teeth into it. The first 3 seasons are streaming on Netflix, so you don't even have to have AMC or the app to go into the new season. You can dive into Netflix. It takes place in the 70s. It starts off on an Indian reservation. There are unbelievable guest stars in each season. This season, that German actress, Frankie, who played Lola Run, like, I mean, among many other roles, she is like a vicious killer in it. There's so many great characters. It's a beautifully shot series. It's dark. It's mysterious. It's got the history of the 70s. It's got great music. Like, I highly recommend. So that is my recommendation. I hope you guys are able to navigate my train of thought this week because I'm very much distracted with everything going around my surroundings. But I want to thank you for hanging in there with me. And as always, I want to thank Live Nation for making this podcast possible. Have a great week, guys, and I'll see you next week.